man's game, because damn it, this is a young man's game. And I'm worried for a lot of people in this house that aren't categorized as a young person. Well, anyway, so what went down, let's go over a quick little recap over what went down last week. For the most part, all my predictions were spot on. I said Jess would go home. I also told y'all that Cody would wind up winning the temptation competition. I also told y'all I predicted Christmas would use her temptation like a beta female. I also predicted that. So I'm pretty much 3 for 3 going into this week. I really wanted Cody to go ahead and win this HOH, but it wasn't in the cards. What can you do? There's a lot of stuff going on the feeds. There's a lot of stuff for us to discuss in this episode, and I'm just happy that all of you all are here with me. Welcome to Recency Bias Radio. So anyway, remember how I told you all in the last episode? Well, first, let me go ahead. Let me do a eulogy for the all-star, for the superstar, for the queen. Let me do a eulogy right now for Jess. Jess. Well, I could just keep saying that you should have saved Dom. That goes without being said. Jess, I want to commend you for how you started to realize that Cody's handbook, his playbook, was the right way to approach this game. I want to commend you for at least attempting to change up your game plan when you realized your game plan was just not going to work this season with this house, with Paul in the house. I want to thank you for at least trying to upset this apple cart. I want to thank you for at least giving me something, someone, some entity to root for that gave me any hope, even when all hope was lost a few episodes ago. I just want to thank you, Jess, for at least making it entertaining for someone like me to rant about this show. Because now that you are gone and now that you're not in jury, this show is on its way to being possibly the worst season of all time. And I'm going to get into that. We're going to do, hopefully I can have time later on to do a rank of all the seasons compared to this one, because I think you'll be surprised where I rank this season. But yeah, so rest in power, Jess. You will be back for another season. Your enemies during this season, with the exception of maybe Paul, Christmas, to see how she'll play without a fucked up leg. For the most part, no one else is really going to get another chance on that side. They're all tweaking at this point. Well, anyway, so what goes down, essentially, ladies and gentlemen, the rogue, I was about to call it a rogue comp competition. The temptation competition happens. Mark wins it. So from what I'm being told, they're trying to backdoor Cody. He didn't get picked for veto, so it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. He's going home at this point. Now, the thing is, Matt won veto, and Matt was the third nominee from the temptation comp, so it would behoove Matt to use the veto on himself, but that would mean Cody doesn't go up. So now we're in a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where people have to hold their own nuts. See, if Matt doesn't use the veto on himself and he uses it on Mark well, not Mark, but if he uses it on Elena, or I forgot who the other nominee was next to her. But if he uses it on Elena or someone else, then at the end of the day, Matt is making his own game worse, because if you're not willing to save yourself, for the short-term game, you might seem like someone who is selfless, who is all about doing what is best for the alliance. But if he just saves himself, Cody stays in the game. Like, at what point do people in this house make a decision for themselves? That's all we're waiting for as fans, right? Matt doesn't seem like he's going to use it on himself. It seems like my prediction early on in this episode is that he's going to fuck around using it on someone else to guarantee Cody is sitting next to him, because that's what beta males do. You know, beta males don't look out for themselves like an alpha would. They look out for as many people who can give them fake protection promises and all this other shit, okay? So that's what's going on that front, so to catch you guys up to speed. But what I want to really talk about, and the reason why this episode is titled Young Man's Game, is because Kevin, the guy all of you were telling me could do no wrong. You know how many people been coming up to me saying, hey, Dave, this man Kevin is good at this game. He's much smarter than he leads on. He's playing the game well. And I kept telling people, Kevin is not that good at this fucking game. You guys are overblowing the shit Kevin does just because he's an old guy. And that's just the truth about it. If the same quotes came out of a 20-year-old's body that came out of Kevin's, people say, look at this guy. He's lame. He has such a disconnect from society. But because it's an old guy, it's somehow endearing. So in this episode, what I want to get down to, I want to break down Kevin's strategy, and I want to I want to expose and I want to negate all of the theories that he's a great game player. I want to completely just take that from everyone's minds, everyone's subconscious, and I want them to think from a strategic perspective. I want them to think about how bad he truly is at this game. So let's take Kevin's gameplay. For the most part, he has bunkered himself down with Jason and Alex to a certain degree, but he's also become such a floater that you don't really know who his number two is. Now, we're finally starting to hear that he is romantically into Christmas. So it seems like Christmas went from having a lesbian love interest to hating that lesbian love interest for deciding to become straight after Dom left, to now all of a sudden flirting with a man who very well could be about 50 years old. Now, she's only 35. It's not off limits or nothing here. But I'm just finding it really weird how he's becoming more attracted to her while she's on one foot. I don't, maybe this is some fetish shit going on. I don't know, Kevin. I'm not trying to accuse you of shit, but I'm just saying, shit's a little weird, bro. Like, Kevin's already talking about going to sequester and smashing Christmas. I don't know if he's going to put one of her, the leg that's in the cast. I don't know if he's going to put that shit. You know, like when you break your collarbone or some shit, you got that shit in a sling. I don't know if he's going to put that shit in a sling on the ceiling, have one leg up the whole time to I don't know if that's where Kevin's playing. See, he old school, you know what I'm saying? They got different techniques, you know what I'm saying? You know, Kama Sutra, you know, was by far better back then than it is now. Now motherfuckers want to record everything they do in the bit. But anyway, all right, that's off subject. I'm just being funny. But seriously though, Kevin, from a gameplay perspective, I'm gonna get into all the Cody shit. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, but from a gameplay, from strictly strategy, you were the guy who refused to pick a side. Instead, you kind of played the middle, and then when Paul's alliance got a little too crazy, you kind of just walked into the corner where Jason said, hey, man, who was talking about my vote, man? You've allowed Paul to completely puppeteer you into giving hella hinky votes. On top of that, you told Paul about the 25K. The only reason why Paul isn't holding that over your head right now is because he's already told the whole house Ramses has it, which is why I want to go back to what I already said previously 2 rants ago. I told you guys, it's interesting to me. Actually, it was last rant. It's interesting to me how Kevin is allowed to play the game that Ramses went home for. But we'll get back to that. So, Kevin, your strategy so far in this game has been stay close to Jason, stay close to Christmas. But the thing is, Jason and Alex have a final 3 deal now with Paul. So working with Jason and working with Christmas, that's habitually line stepping, Kevin. Because those are 2 different sides of the house. They might seem like they're all on one side, but they're really within a fraction of a majority alliance. So let me give you all a quick little wake-up call. My opinion, I think Josh has always been with Paul. I don't think he's truly with Christmas because of what Christmas did to make sure that Elena couldn't go home. So to give you guys a quick little rewind, I believe the numbers stack out like this. I think it's Matt, Raven, Jason, Alex, Paul over here. And I think it's Matt, Raven, Jason, Alex, Paul, Josh over here. And I think it's Christmas, for the most part, by herself over here with Kevin. That's how I look at the numbers right now. I think it's 6-2 on that side. If I'm leaving out somebody, please let me know. But I don't consider Elena and Mark part of that side at all. I consider them motherfuckers that are grasping for a fucking lifeline right now. Like we playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in this motherfucker. Okay. So all in all, I look at that alliance broken down into 6-2. That's how I see it broken down, right? So my whole thing with that alliance is Christmas, she's over here making a lot of enemies. She's arguing with Mark for no reason. She's creating a lot of animosity towards Elena. She's getting Josh really revved up last week to do a big move, and then she uses her temptation to stifle it. You know, she's doing a lot of half-stepping, habitually line-stepping. She's doing a lot of half-stepping. And because she's doing a lot of half-stepping, just because she used her temptation, she thinks, in her mind, she thinks by using it, she is taking the target off of her back. But in reality, she's put it bigger on her back because she's shown that she understands the game at a heightened sense that only Paul understands. See, Paul can tell her to use the temptation, but honestly, I truly believe Paul would have more respect for Christmas for not using it and keeping it for her own game because Paul would have did the same thing. No. People don't respect you for becoming their bitch. Matter of fact, they lose respect for you for doing everything that they say. And I think a lot of times people forget that factor. They think, well, you asked me to do it, so you should like me now because I listened to everything you said. But in reality, though, if you jump when a motherfucker tells you to jump, then they're going to automatically look at you as someone, oh, they'll always do what I say. They don't take you seriously, Christmas. See, if she wasn't crippled for all intents and purposes, pardon the term, I don't want to be disrespectful to true people who are crippled and don't have a choice and might be paralyzed, but all in all, though, Christmas's game would be completely different if she was healthy. But the reason why I'm bringing this up to you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to do a what if game right now. What if Christmas was medevaced? What if? Now, this will be a good game, ladies and gentlemen. This will be a good game because I guarantee you, the more and more you viewers and you watchers who might see the VOD, the more and more you guys think about this. If Christmas would have got medevaced as soon as she hurt her leg, let's think of the ramifications it would have had on this game. Number one, by Christmas being medevaced out of this game, Jason becomes the prime enemy to Paul because Christmas was his number one ally at that time. Plus, she had the temptation. I believe the injury happened right around the time she got the temptation. I believe it was all the second week, right? Yeah, I think that all happened the second week. So imagine if Christmas gets medevaced, okay? All right, if Christmas gets medevaced, then let's fast forward to week 3. Number one, does her temptation, does another vote start to give the temptation to someone else? And if Jessica got the third temptation, then it is highly probable that Jessica would have ended up being granted the second temptation if Christmas got medevaced out of the game. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. So think about that. Jess could have been the one with the power to be able to alter vetoes. And then if Jess would have won the HOH later on in the game, she probably could have set it up a certain way to guarantee the person she wanted to go home would have went home if Christmas wasn't there. But that's just one tiny wrinkle in time that I'm bringing up here. Now, really think about this, ladies and gentlemen. If Christmas, if she's not in this game, that means that Josh doesn't have the same support system with Paul. Most likely, Josh doesn't do the pots and pans thing to begin with, because we have to remember here, even though Paul is the one who suggested it first, Christmas was the one who made Josh feel secure in looking like a buffoon. See, Christmas is the one. See, Paul is the guy that gives you. All right. Let's compare this to The Wire, right? Any of y'all watch The Wire that was on HBO back in the day? I think it was on from like, I don't know, 02 to maybe 07 or something like that. Well, anyway, Paul is Proposition Joe. His job is to go up to you and to give you a proposition. His ideas are like currency because he can think of a way for you to make money better than your competition, but he charges a fee, right? He's almost like a handler or a publicist or just an advisor, right? That's what Paul is in this equation. Christmas, she's what you call the closer. She's the person you send in after the blueprint has already been set up. She's the person you send in to complete the final negotiations, right? And that's why Paul can't really turn on Christmas until jury hits. And that's why now all of a sudden everyone is starting to play a different type of game, because now they're realizing even if we do get rid of Cody this week, we still got to hold our own nuts next week. So we might as well do it now, right? So that's what's really going on. So to continue the whole, what if Christmas got evicted with a medevac, okay? To continue that, all right, Christmas goes out. That means her temptation goes to someone else. It doesn't have to go to Jess, but let's just say it goes to someone else. That means Paul has a lot less information. Because if you know someone has a temptation, that is valuable information. Any type of information in this game is currency, right? So that means Paul, all of a sudden, is more broke than he was if she would have stayed in the game. There would have been one less hinky vote, okay? In the whole Cody versus Ramses, all that other shit. It would have been one less hinky vote. On top of that, the person who wins HOH after Paul's HOH, I believe, was Alex, right? Who did Alex end up targeting? She ended up targeting... Oh, yeah. Who did Alex get out that week? Oh, didn't she target Dominique? Yeah, she targeted Dominique and she targeted Jess. Now think about this. If someone else gets Christmas's temptation and Jess and Dominique are on the block, pretty much set in stone to go home. Now, if it does go to Jess, she has a situation in place where she can set it up to where Cody plays in the oh, Cody's gone already. Damn. Ooh. Well, at least Dom was fucked up that time. You know what? It alters some things, but it doesn't alter enough, maybe. Maybe it alters enough for if the same circumstance happened with Dom going home, but I definitely believe if Christmas would have went home, then Jess would have got the second temp and Dom would have definitely got the third temp. So really what I'm trying to say to you is, if Jess would have found a way to use her second temp as soon as she was on the block when Alex was HOH, she could have orchestrated a way to get herself off the block by picking the weakest nominees possible to perform in veto, right? Right. All right. Let's say this backfires in some way. Dom and Jess ends up staying, even though Jess just wanted herself to stay. I'm saying this all for the sake of argument's sake, okay? And let's say Dom does get that third temptation. Okay, because in reality, it doesn't really matter because that third temptation was given to Dom and Jess the week that they were on the block anyway. So none of this really matters. But let's just say Jess uses up her temptation because she's scared. She's on the block and there's no Cody. So most likely she's going to use it in the veto. She can't take Dom off from competing in the veto because she's nominated. So he has to take someone else off. So she probably takes off Mark or she takes off Elena, something like that, right? All right, so Dom gets the third temptation now because there's no Christmas in the game. That completely changes the entire game. No Christmas on that side. Paul, but see, here's the real question. If Christmas doesn't exist going into week 3, does Paul turn on Dom the same way going into week 3? Because honestly, I think Christmas was one of the spearheaders of getting rid of Dom. But see, I think Christmas, of all people, I think Dom was maybe one of her biggest misplays in the game. Because if she would have kept Dom over Jess, think about this. She would have kept someone who hated Elena. But see, at the time, we have to remember, that was her lesbian love interest. So at the time, she couldn't have foresaw the fact that Elena would have just ran right to Mark as soon as Dom left. If Christmas was smart, she would have kept Dom in the game because Dom takes Mark's attention away from Elena, which allows Elena to become the direct number for Christmas. But this is why I go back to talking strategy. You see how I've been talking about none of this Twitter drama at all so far in this episode? It's because there is so much strategy to be had here. And I love talking about strategy with you guys. So really think about this. If Christmas had been medevaced, it could have helped Kevin's game. Because right now, Kevin is sitting here with only Jason to rely on and Christmas. He tried to get close to Jessica, but he allowed her to go home, which has to somewhat, really grind Cody's gears. Like, why do you keep coming around us, gathering information, then running to other motherfuckers, Kevin? And that's the biggest problem I had with Kevin. And because I didn't name who Kevin would be in the Game of Thrones community in the last rant, I'm going to say this to y'all right now. Kevin is Robert Baratheon. That's who Kevin is, because he's in love with Cersei, but Cersei is more in love with Jaime Lannister, and Littlefinger, who is Paul, is going to figure out a way how to get rid of Robert Baratheon. So there you go. There you go. That's who Kevin is. Kevin is not who we think he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's not that good at this game. Kevin benefits from the fact that this is probably the oldest cast we've had in probably about 6-7 years. Unless you have a season with like 4 returnees coming back, you're not going to have a lot of 30-year-olds in the game. That is just the truth. The fact that this was the season with 1 returnee and the fact that it was such a high age, I guess, median, the fact that happened is just a testament to the fact that, people like Kevin can survive as long as he does. Because usually old people go first, second, or they get dragged to the end like a Jerry. Well, anyway, so why am I saying all of this about Kevin? Why did I stumble upon this huge little Twilight Zone? Oh, I thought someone was calling my phone. That was my alarm. Why am I stooping so low to bring up all of these what-if scenarios? I'm bringing up these what-if scenarios to show you all, ladies and gentlemen, that Kevin had options. He may have not thought he had options, but he had options. And if he was truly a great game player, he would have noticed all of these options immediately. But because he didn't notice these options, he's fucked over. Now, mind you, you can't make one of your options someone get medevaced. But I'm just saying, though, Kevin allowed Christmas to become a huge Paul disciple to the point where Christmas was willing. Christmas using up her temptation ruined Kevin's game too, people. Think about this. Her using that temptation to make sure Jess went home, that ruined Kevin's game twofold. Why? Because think about it. Jess was someone who would have never probably nominated Kevin until maybe final 6, final 5. That's number one. Number two, that was a temptation that Kevin probably needed Christmas to save to use to help him later on in the game. Now everyone's turning on Kevin, and rightfully so. They should turn on Kevin because the more and more I look at Kevin's track record, it doesn't really show his allegiance to anyone. It just shows he's willing to keep quiet when shit is getting desperate. Now everyone's saying, "Oh, Kevin's worried about how he's being perceived outside." Yada yada yada. Kevin don't give a fuck about how he's being perceived outside. All he give a fuck about is simping on Christmas and telling Cody's secrets. So I want to get into that right now, ladies and gentlemen. Cody, now mind you, this was a situation that was all forced by Kevin. You know, the friendship cult, they have a strategy. It's like Boston Rob, okay? It's like Redemption Island, Boston Rob, okay? Don't talk to the enemy, you know? Buddy system, that type shit. I was listening to Dick at Night, and they were talking about this. And I was like, yes, people agree with what I'm saying. This is some Boston Rob, Redemption Island shit that Paul's got going for him because there's a whole bunch of dumb motherfuckers. But the difference is Redemption Island at least had Russell there. So we at least had some hope from the start, right? We didn't have no fucking hope from the start because from the start, all we saw was, hey, take this 25K, Paul's safe. Like, that's all we really saw from the fucking start. And see, the thing is, when they edit these episodes a certain way, we have no way of knowing if they're just sitting there. I saw the Wednesday night episode. I saw the shit that happened when Christmas used her temptation. It really appeared as if they sat there for 30 seconds waiting for Josh to look at her and wink. Like, it felt like they would not allow Josh to finish the veto ceremony until Christmas used it. And that's because it behooves production to screw over Jess and Cody. Come on, man. How many times do we see Cody just standing there waiting for motherfuckers to say, okay, I'll let you know when it's time for the veto ceremony to start. Cody's just sitting there like, looking around like, what's good? We done here? You know what I'm saying? And Josh is just looking back and forth like, knowing damn well Christmas is like right there. He like looks at her one time, stares, blank stares, doesn't blink. Let's build suspense. I know business. Let's build suspense. I'm a human. Let me have my moment. You know, like, fuck all that shit. And shout outs to you, production. This is the one compliment you'll get out of me the whole Rant series. Y'all motherfuckers got rid of the pots and pans. Had to give y'all a semi-standing ovation because y'all motherfuckers still ain't been about shit this whole season. It's been, how can we make this week easier for Paul? Every single Thursday night, they're thinking, how can we make this? Oh, yeah, let's come up with this. Well, yeah. You know, it's all bullshit. But to get back to Kevin, because that's what this episode is truly about, the young man's game. It's a young man's game. Kevin is playing a game that's meant for people around my age, and he's been doing a decent job. But let's be honest, though. His decent job includes him becoming a sheep. So he's really not doing a great job. He's just doing his best not to be a target. You know, when I heard of Kevin, when I heard he was the son of a mob boss, allegedly, the cheese. When I heard he was the son of a mob boss, I thought, okay, I see potential here. To have a guy from that type of a background, he's not going to take no bullshit from nobody. And he just might be able to pseudo-threaten them outside the house. He might be able to work that. But it doesn't seem like Kevin wants to be portrayed that way. It doesn't seem like he wants to play aggressive that way. It legitimately feels like the only reason why he wanted to make Jury so bad is for Christmas. That's what it legit feels like from someone like me on the outside looking in. I might be completely wrong, but I feel like Kevin put in so much work. He did so much espionage for Paul when it came to getting rid of Ramses. He did so much espionage for Paul when it came to Jess and Cody. And now this week, Cody is speaking to him one-on-one, mano-a-mano, man-to-man. Kevin, you're supposed to have all of these kids, right? So of all people, Cody thinks I should be able to talk to you about my daughter and it won't leave this room. And for Kevin to completely just throw all of that trust out the window just because he knows his entire alliance think he's sketchy for talking to Cody is goofy as fuck. Because Kevin, what was your plan in talking to him in the first place if you're just going to link the information? This doesn't put you in better standing because either way, you're being seen talking to the enemy. So no matter what, you look shifty. So you snitching on Cody, that doesn't prolong you any longer in this game. On the contrary, it shows your alliance that you're willing to snitch on anyone at any moment. Because if you let Kevin tell it, he'll say, oh, man, I don't want the guy to go home, you know what I'm saying, being all pissed off about all of us this whole week. Come on, man, we could treat him like a human being. But it's interesting. Kevin didn't have this personality when Dom went home. He didn't have this personality when Jess went home. He kind of waited. And you know why he waited? He waited because he knows jury already started. And he knows if he can be the one person that's nice to Cody, by the time the end of the game comes around, he'll have Cody's vote. But here's the thing, though, Kevin. Let's say you make it to the end. And let's say the rest of your alliance makes it to the jury house. What is the first thing they're going to do? They might hate Cody, but they're going to strategically go up to Cody and say, oh, we know about your daughter, by the way. Kevin told us. And that's going to take away your fucking vote. He'll vote for Paul over you now because your dumb ass couldn't keep the shit to yourself. And that's why I keep trying to tell y'all, Kevin is not that good at this game, man. I know we all want him to be good at this game, but he's not good at this game. A good game player would have never told anyone he had the 25K to begin with. That was just stupid. Stupid. There are different ways to become closer to Paul, okay? Did Alex have to tell Paul she has a temptation? Well, she doesn't have one, but still, did she have to tell him something like that to get on the side? No, she just had to win HOH and do what he said. Did Jason have to do anything to be on Paul's side? To become in a final three with him? No, all he had to do was be somewhat close to Alex, who's a fucking puppet. Did Matt or Raven have to do anything besides flip on Cody and Jess to become close to Paul? No. Well, on Matt's side, no. Raven, we already know she let him hit already. We already know that part confirmed. She's already said it. She's already admitted to motherfuckers in the house that she knew Paul before, way back in the day. Something about her Instagram has Paul on it or Snapchat. Well, as long as she confirms it now, then hey, her mom can't sue nobody no more. Hey, we were spitting facts. That ain't slander. That ain't slander. Your daughter has confirmed it, ma'am. Leave me out of this shit. But yeah, though. So with this Kevin shit, I think he really misplayed his hand. Because if you really think about it, let's say Christmas stays in the game and let's say she keeps Dom, okay? Christmas, Dom, Kevin, Cody, and Jess. Look, think about that. Because I already told y'all the reason why Josh and Christmas can't work as a twosome is because neither one of them can win a comp. So if you have Cody, Jess, Kevin, Christmas, and Dom there, three of the five can win comps. The other two can socially stay intact with what's going on. It could have been the best double agent strategy. It could have been like Jason, Guy, and Danielle Reyes, but as a 5-person alliance. They could have pulled that off. But see, these players are recruits, betas, and floaters. And because they are put on the show as that archetype, I mean, of course, the archetype has more different little subtypes to the archetype, but in reality, they're put on the show because they don't know shit. And because they don't know shit, they're more likely to do stuff that has never been done before in a negative fashion. And that's why they get casted. But all in all, man, I'm really looking at this game, and Christmas, she threw her game out the window last week. Kevin threw his game out the window this week. So now two of the people that the majority of people who don't like Paul's alliance still kind of sort of don't hate on Paul's side are Christmas and Paul. I mean, Christmas and Kevin. They're pretty much the top two vote getters of likability on Paul's alliance. Everyone else, I mean, Josh, he's polar. You either hate him or you love him. Paul, same exact way. Raven, most people hate her. Matt, no one likes him. And then Jason and Alex, we're more so indifferent towards them, but we see that they're followers. So in reality, the people that most people like, when you talk about live feeders and casual viewers, is going to be Christmas because of her fan base most likely liking her. So she always has majority approval rating of somewhere around 80%. And then you got a guy like Kevin, who's that old guy that everyone wants to root for because he's a smooth talker and yada, yada, yada. But Kevin was the one hosting all those late night shows with Dom. He didn't take no brunt of the blame when he started hosting it after she went home. Nobody started blaming Kevin for doing this. Oh, he's trying to get to know people on a personal level. Nobody really threw that out there with Kev. You know, Kevin was above that. When he took the L, no one threw the L that Ramsey took at Kev. Kevin has been above all of the fuckery up until now, and he's finally starting to reap what he sows. And it's because Kevin did not choose a fucking side. You cannot wait until the majority alliance has a stranglehold on the game to say, I finally want to start playing now. My 8K has been granted. Kevin, you already at 25. You know, you should have went all out to guarantee that jury would be a jury that you would want to see if you were in the final two. But no one's playing a game that way, you know? And it's just really frustrating because Robert Baratheon, a.k.a. Kevin, okay, he has so much fucking potential. And there's so many people willing to go to bat for the guy, but none of them can answer these questions. If he was truly great at this fucking game, why would he tell Cody's secret like that? Cody's going to be in jury, Kevin. What are you fucking doing? Like you can tell when someone is behind in Big Brother, they overwork to overcorrect what they've already done wrong. And that's what it was when it came down to snitching on Cody. That wasn't necessary, family. That wasn't necessary. Now Cody is going to have animosity towards you. And Julia's already said there's no more battle backs. And if there's no more battle backs, but see, I call bullshit. If Paul goes home, there's a battle back. But I have a strong feeling that they don't want to allow the battle back because they know Cody's guaranteed to go home this week. So it's like, all right, well, let's give everyone in the house. This is production talking. Let's give everyone in the house incentive right now to get rid of Cody by saying there's no more battle backs. That way they all know and they all feel that they're making the right decision because he has no chance of coming back. Let's make that decision right now. Like, when have we ever had Julie in a season said no one's coming back? I don't remember that shit because usually it's an expect the unexpected scenario. But it seems like now she's trying to overcorrect their own twists by telling people overtly that no one's coming back. Why say this when Cody's on the block, Julie? It only further perpetuates my conspiracy theory that they want Paul to win by any means to the point where that they're willing to say shit that doesn't even matter. You know, when Jess said that shit about her temptation, Julie, she didn't have to say anything. She could have just said, have a great night, house guest. She could have just left it alone at that. But by her going out of her way to say, I won't say anything. When you voice, first off, that's an oxymoron. When you say out loud, I'm not saying anything, you're saying a lot. Because you're saying it's not the truth by saying I won't say anything. You know? And especially in Julie's position. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, get the fuck out of here. But all in all, though, I'm not trying to make this more about Jess, but this is about Kevin and this is about Jason because now I want to get into another older guy in this game, and I want to get into why it's a young man's game for him as well. Jason, another guy with a lot of potential in this game. Jason was supposed to be that whistle nut. He rides bulls. He isn't scared of shit. He's got a baby, so he should be more fearless and he should be focused and he should know he have his eyes on the prize at all times and he should be goals oriented and yada, 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 yada. Receding hairline, it's time to shave that shit off. We know the story, right? And Jason, I don't get how it behooves you to go to the final three with Paul. What the fuck? Like, it's okay to agree to that deal to stay off Paul's radar, but as soon as finding out that information from Paul, I would have ran to Kevin, Christmas, and Josh and said, hey, real talk. Me and Alex have a final three deal with Paul right now, okay? That means you other three are left out, and that means Matt and Raven are left out too. So how about all of us vote to evict Matt and Raven, and the next two evictions, get rid of their asses, and then me. So if this is Jason talking on behalf of Alex, it would be him, Alex, Christmas, and Josh become the new strong four, and then they go and pluck Paul out the fucking sky. That's what I tell these motherfuckers to do. But once again, these people don't have brains like we do, super fans, because they are recruits. They don't really see all the different avenues. It's like I say, if you've never been behind the wheel in a specific vehicle with a stick shift, that you're not going to know how to drive in the snow in it, right? These house guests have never seen anyone being in the situation that they are in, the same predicament. So they don't know that they have multiple options, which is why they always settle for the common denominator, which is follow Paul. Follow Paul. Just follow, you know? And Jason, he actually has a shot to win this game, but I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if he goes to the final three, he can't beat Paul. That means he has to take Alex. And if he takes Alex, first off, Alex is going to take Paul. So that means Jason would have to win the final three HOH and turn on Paul. I don't know. Well, actually, it's so last minute that it might win him the game. I don't know. But because in order for Paul to get there with them too, a lot of people have to be pissed off at Paul. But the thing is, though, it's just too much of a risk to me. It's just too much of a risk to me. I think the smartest game move in this game, I think it's to get a majority alliance together that all want to get rid of Paul together. That way he can't blame a specific entity. That way, when he goes to the jury house and everyone starts coming in one by one, they all can take credit for the move collectively. And that way he can just judge who he will vote for as it is, right? But if you take all the credit for getting out Paul, I'm sorry, you're not winning this game, especially if you get him out early. If you get him out late, you might have a chance to win it unless you're Josh. But yeah, so they taking away Josh's pots and pans. You know, it's like taking away a cat's nails. You know what I mean? Like, what does a cat do around the house if it doesn't have nails, right? Claws, if you will. You know, Josh, I mean, he's declawed now. He's not, he isn't shit. He can't talk shit to nobody, man. And that's why he's just chilling. He's just coasting. Because he knows what he did in his past HOH was good enough to secure himself a future in this game. But when it comes to Jason and Kevin, though, they both need to think to themselves, all right, look, we're both of the older ilk in this game. We need each other. But now Jason is straying away from Kevin. He's allowing people to talk shit about Kevin, and he's not even relaying that info. So isn't it interesting how Kevin is so quick to turn on Cody, who's really the only person who has his back at this point, legitimately. And then Jason, the person who's supposed to be his best friend, is turning on him like it ain't shit. You see what I'm saying? So in reality, there's no honor among thieves in this entire friendship cult. They're all a bunch of snakes. Okay. So what do I want to see? I want to see the game. I already told you guys about how I want the game to get to a point where your biggest enemy, I want you to keep your biggest enemy in the game because I want you to take the Jeremy Collins route. I'm talking about Survivor game. I'm not Game Changers. Survivor Second Chances. I want y'all to take that type of approach. And I want more people to start thinking strategically. And no one in this game is thinking strategically. But now that they've made the 8K, I'm just hoping that they start. But see, the thing is, okay, Mark, he got into a debate with Christmas. I think this was the first time in my life that I saw Mark grow some nuts. He was actually putting her in her place a little bit. Maybe Christmas was a little bit high off those pills. I don't know. But she kind of got it handed to her. Now, people could say, well, Christmas was passive aggressive and she really outthought him in some cases. But no, Mark specifically said, if you're going to mention my name and you're not sure about what you're mentioning, then why not just come to me? I'm the source. And by asking her that question, he put her in a position to where she couldn't give him a reply that made any type of sense. Because, look, everyone in the house by now knows Christmas understands the game. So she can't play this game where, I don't know, I just made a bad decision. No, Christmas, you got too much time on that squeaky wheel to think, okay? We all know that everything you do is plotted out at this point, with the exception of using your temptation, because that didn't make sense. But all in all, though, I just want to rank this season because I think this season now that Jess is gone, because I think if Jess would have been able to win veto despite the temptation being used, I think this could have had a Big Brother 6 feel to it. I believe it was on the cusp of being Big Brother 6 with Elena, Mark, Jess, and Cody. I think it could have been like them against the nerd herd. But now that Jess is gone, no shot of coming back, I think this season is definitely one of the worst seasons of all time. I mean, it's not even debatable at this point. I mean, if 5 years from now, if we go back, nobody will try to watch this season again. I can almost guarantee y'all that. No one will. No one will. They have no incentive. But I would probably rank this season. It's better than Big Brother 1. It's better than Big Brother 9. And I'll give you better than Big Brother 13. I'll give you 13. But this is the fourth worst season ever created. Now, in the comment section, I want you guys to comment below if you think I'm right. Do you guys think this is the 4th worst season of all time? Because I honestly think 2, 3, 4, 5, all better. 6, 7, 2 of the greatest ever. 8, another greatest ever. 9, I said it's better than 9, but it's not better than 10. It's not better than 11. It's not better than 12. It's not better than 14. You know what? It's better than 15. I'll give it 15. Maybe in fact, I'll tie it with 15. I'll tie it because both of them are really equally toxic. So I'll tie it with 15. So in reality, it's not better than 16. It's not better than 17. It's not better than 18. So yeah, this is the 4th worst season. It's a tie. Big Brother 15 and Big Brother 19 are the 4th worst seasons of all time. And it's really no debate at this point. And I would like to see how you guys feel in the comment sections below. But anyway, time to segue into some other strategy talk, because I want to get into the fact that Paul recently revealed, I believe he was with Alex and I believe he was with Josh, that the golden apple twist at the beginning of this game that ruined Josh's game, go figure, a little bit of irony in this. The thing that ruined Josh's game was meant to save Paul's. So here's the real question. Number one, if Paul is aware the golden apple is to save him, then that means that there must have been some type of pre-contract talks before you enter the game, that there would be multiple ways to keep him safe going into week 2. That's number one. So it's already proven to be rigged because of what coming out of Paul's mouth. Seems like a lot of house guests are snitching on themselves this week. I think it's just boredom because they already know what the job is. Backdoor Cody. But I find this interesting because they cut feeds as soon as Paul got done saying it, meaning it's true. Otherwise, they leave it on and let him be a fucking buffoon. I mean, how many times have they let Raven be a buffoon and never cut feeds? They let her talk about how her disease is terminal and they never turn it, right? I mean, sometimes they do if there's some real hot shit going on around the house, but usually they let her be on stage and just lie to everyone, right? But the thing I find very interesting about this is, so does that mean that Paul, when he chose not to get the golden, because we have to remember all of this stuff was taped a week prior. We always have to remember this, right? So here's my conspiracy theory. I think when Josh took the golden apple, I think that was when production decided we need to go ahead and make the first temptation something to save someone for 3 weeks. Because I think initially the first temptation was going to be the second. Because otherwise, why have a golden apple that's meant to keep you safe for 1 week? If you're not going to, because see, they overlap each other. It doesn't make sense. What incentive does Paul have to accept a temptation if he's already safe? Meaning they came up with that temptation after the golden apple was already put into the game. Meaning production is whipping out temptations as they go, like I said they did with the temptation comp. I have been vindicated yet again. You see how I just broke that down? You see how I just broke that down, ladies and gentlemen? That's why y'all fucks with RBR. Because at Recency Bias Radio, we break things down to the T. We don't allow the bullshit radar to go off and we just let it go. No. We gonna figure out what's the truth. And that's the truth. So if that temptation, well, that twist, if that was meant for Paul to be safe for a week, then that lets me know. And that's what lets a lot of people know. Because everyone has been speculating. Why was the second temptation, in comparison to the first and third, why was it so weak? Well, switching veto places. Compared to being safe for 3 weeks and being able to stop an eviction for 3 weeks, that shit is weak, right? That's what everyone thought. That was meant to be the first temptation. Hot take arena, hot take alert. That temptation, the second temptation that Christmas got was supposed to be the first temptation. But Big Brother and production switched it up to guarantee Paul could be safe because they initially planned for him to be safe the first 4 weeks of the game. So you can take that shit home with you too. Mark my words. I got you, JRB Tech. I got you, bro. I got you. Shout outs. By the way, shout outs to my brother Busy Blue as well. He doing big things on YouTube. Check out his channel as well. He'll give you guys nice little recaps of each Big Brother episode that's on CBS. I fucks with him, so fuck with him. But all in all, man, do I think this season can be saved? That's really the biggest question here. I've given you guys multiple ways it could be saved in the past. Now that we know there's no battle back as of now, because we can't listen to production. They said there would be no temptations after week 3. There ends up being a temptation comp. They say no one can win 2 temptations in one season, but then they allow the temptation comp to be performed by anyone that isn't HOH. and including people who've already won Temptations. So Big Brother will go back on their word. But for now, I'll take them on their word and say no one's coming back. So how can this be saved if Cody goes home this week? It can't be saved. That's the short answer. I mean, look. I want you guys to really think. If Paul already has his eyes set on Kevin, and he's pretty much guaranteed the next 3 evictions is going to be a certain variation of Mark, Elena, Cody, and Kevin, who is left that would be a worthy winner to any of us? Who is left? Nobody. Which is why I tied this with BB15. BB15, look, no disrespect to Andy. He's from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. You see what I got on, right? I fucks with Chicago people. But at the end of the day, Andy benefited from the fact that he had a lot of toxic people on this season, and he was just an errand boy who ran back and forth and gathered information, okay? You know, they were so fixated on getting rid of black people that they didn't really care who was going back and forth and playing both sides that season because they were stupid, you know? If Amanda was less worried about weaponizing Aaron to win competitions, she would have solved the game that Andy was playing and all these other floaters, and maybe Amanda or McCrae could have won the game. But they were so busy weaponizing Alyssa, weaponizing Aaron. They're so busy trying to weaponize shit. How about you become a fucking weapon, right? Just saying. And that's what we get this season. We get a whole bunch of people who want to weaponize other people because they don't want to stand out. And honestly, I had to think about this. Now that Jess is gone and Cody's going to be leaving this week, the only HOHs in this game going into next week are Josh, Alex, and Paul. That means there's only been 3 HOHs in 7 weeks that are still in this game, I mean. So that just lets you know that, and Josh's was a complete crapshoot. It could have easily been someone else, but Josh is just he's just gonna be the placeholder for someone who pulled out some fluke shit. So in all reality, though, from a strategy standpoint, the HOH is pretty much being easy to predict now. Even if you don't like Paul's side, you know it's going to either go to Paul. And next week is probably going to go to Paul because Alex has it this week. It's just simple math here, you know, because they're making every single fucking HOH. They're making it Christmas accessible. They're making it handicap accessible. And it annoys me because every time you give Christmas a comp she could compete in, you're taking away from what makes Cody special in the game. Because whatever comp Christmas can do, it's usually something Cody isn't. It isn't Cody's specialty. Cody is someone who specializes in speed, power. You know, he's one of those physical players, right? But by making the competitions less physical, you're just helping people out like Christmas, which only helps out more beta males like Paul, who are like 5'2" like a woman anyway, right? So in reality, man, we saw the writing on the wall, man. We was just trying to hold out some type of hope because we're fans of the game. We're Big Brother purists. But the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way out of this. We're just going to have to sit through it. And I told y'all my rants would go nowhere, you know. And it's a shame because, man, live feeds, man, I haven't really been, you know, people went from arguing about live feeds about, oh, you're a bully and you're a bully. And I'm not going to get into that again. But I'm just saying people went from doing that to now kind of being bored again. No one really has anything to argue about because there's nothing worth talking about anymore. And that's the saddest part. But all in all, man, it's a young man's game. And I was wishing the best for Jason. At the beginning of the game, Jason seemed to be the one person who figured out Paul's bullshit. Eventually, he got humbled by how Paul was going about all of these tactics. And even Jason has admitted to having some guilt, going to the DR and talking to his family to let them know he's not this type of a dirty human being. But if you enable this type of behavior, then that's the behavior you're okay with in your everyday life, in my opinion. $8 grand shouldn't be worth allowing blackface to riddle its ugly head. $8,000 shouldn't be worth Dom not getting a goodbye message that's of any class. All of these people saying all this negative stuff to Jessica as she's leaving out the door and, you know, and her goodbye messages. And it's just uncalled for, man. But it just goes to show a lot of these motherfuckers is jealous, man. You know, Alex is like, I'm going to hang out with your man while you're gone. Alex, man, Isn't he your love interest? Why are you so obsessed with Cody again? And she's the one who's trying to backdoor Cody now. So obviously you're not trying to get close to him at all. Like, it's just goofy shit. It's really all goofy shit, you know? But all in all, man, this week has been trash, man. That's why I just made this entire episode for the most part about Kevin and Jason, because that's what you all have to look forward to. So on tonight's episode, it's going to be the nomination episode, and it's also going to be the Temptation Comp episode. Look forward to whatever goes down, which involves Mark winning. Also look forward to Cody being ostracized to a certain degree. People trying to fuck with him. I'm interested to see if they show how Josh lost his pots and pans. That's what I really want to see. And yeah, hey, Josh, RIP to your all-star chances without the pots and pans, bro. Because you're really going to whittle now. You're going to get no TV time without that shit. Unless you win another HOH, which is possible, because they're coming out with these Christmas comps. But, by the way, hashtag Christmas comps. But for the most part, man, Josh, what do you have to provide to the show anymore now that the pots and pans have been rendered useless? What do you have to contribute? You have nothing. You have no strategy talk. You have no witty one-liners. Your DRs are terrible. You're constantly yelling like you're Johnny Mac or some shit. Like, you know, be yourself, man. Just be yourself. I'm not going to make this episode about you. I've already ethered your ass. But for the most part, though, man, all of you Kevin fans, I can feel it in the air. Y'all know his time is limited. Y'all know he's on his way out the door real soon. He's too much of a threat. Paul has too much information on him. And frankly, Kevin has not made any legit connections. If Kevin really wanted to last in this game, what would he have done? He would have fought to keep Ramses over Josh. Definitely, he would have fought to keep Ramses over Josh. You know, now I don't even like Ramses, but we're just talking strategy here. He would also fought to keep Dom over Jess. But, you know, hindsight is 2020, like I've said. But all in all, I hope you all have enjoyed the 11th rant of Recency Bias Radio Rants entitled The Young Man's Game. This is Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. If you could, please like, share, subscribe, comment, the whole nine, and I'll appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to our iTunes and SoundCloud, where my podcast, my sports podcast, will be getting up and running within the next month or two, probably within the next month, as soon as the NFL season starts back up. Also, you can find our fan page on Facebook, Recency Bias Radio, and you can also find us now on GoFundMe at Recency Bias Radio as well, if you want to donate and support to get more content faster. I know you guys would prefer if I put out stuff every other day. You know, but the truth is, I mean, the more people that keep leaving the house, the less topics it is to talk about, which is why I try to stretch these things out to about twice a week. But I hope you guys appreciated this episode. I try to stay true to what we always do here at RBR, and I will definitely see you back for number 12, the Tom Brady episode. So you all enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your Power, enjoy your Game of Thrones, your Insecure, whatever you're into. Enjoy it, because you know, those shows might become as bad as this season of Big Brother has been, you know. So we need to go ahead and applaud the content creators, and we need to truly tune in live for these shows that are truly giving the fans what they want, because Big Brother and CBS has completely lost the plot at this point. I'm really just, like, I've been tuning in to Australian Survivor, and I've been more entertained by Australian Survivor than Big Brother 19, completely. The first 5 episodes of Australian Survivor. If y'all don't watch Survivor, check out Australian Survivor. I guarantee you it'll be something to make you at least hate this season of Big Brother. A little bit less because you have some newer to watch. But yeah, man, y'all enjoy y'all night. Be safe. Have a great work week. And I'll be back at you maybe sometime in the middle of the week. So y'all be smooth. Deuces.